The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. Let us know about the great poet William Wordsworth. Wordsworth was a great poet of the outdoors, inspired by the magnificent scenery of the Lake District and even writing among his native mountains. He wrote an estimated 387 poems during his lifetime. He is a nature poet, a fact known to every reader of Wordsworth. He is supreme worshipper of nature. He conceived nature as a living personality, nature as a source of consolation and joy. Solitary Reaper is a lyric by English poet William Wordsworth and one of his best known works. The poet orders or requests his listeners to behold a young maiden reaping and singing to herself. The poet says that anyone passing by should either stop or gently pass, as not to disturb her. At the most basic level, William Wordsworth's Solitary Reaper is a nameless young woman singing to herself as she works in a field. The tone of the Solitary Reaper is admiration and awe. Although Wordsworth cannot understand the maiden's song, he is dumbfounded by the beauty of the poetic tune. He is motionless and still. One major theme of The Solitary Reaper is the power of imagination and its connection with emotion and intuition. The poem expresses the theme that simple moments can have extreme beauty and can soothe our souls for a lifetime afterwards if we stop and pay attention. In this poem, the song of a woman reaping by herself in a field in the Scottish Highlands catches the attention of the narrator who is hiking nearby. Poetic devices. Imagery is used to make readers perceive things involving their five senses. For example, reaping and singing by herself. I saw her singing at her work and more welcome notes to weary bands. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds in the same line in quick succession, such as the sound of P in perhaps the plaintive numbers flow, and the sound of N in no nightingale did ever chaunt. Hyperbole is a device used to exaggerate any statement for the sake of emphasis. For example, the verses exaggerates the impact of her song. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here or gently pass. Behold means take a look at or watch. Solitary means lonely. Reap means harvest. The poet, while traveling in the highland valleys, comes across a lonely Highlander reaper girl who is harvesting their crops and singing by herself. He tries to draw the attention of the passers-by to the girl by calling them to behold her. The poet urges them to stop there and listen to her song, or to pass by gently without disturbing her in her singing. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the way profound is overflowing with the sound. The solitary reaper girl is cutting and binding the grain while singing a sad song. The poet again urges the other travelers to listen to her music as it is overflowing the deep valley. According to the poet, the whole valley is overfilled with the enchanting song of the solitary reaper. Poetic devices used here, oh listen for the vein profound, is overflowing with the sound, is a hyperbole. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to the weary bands of travellers in some shady haunt among Arabian sands. Now the poet compares the reaper girl's song with that of sweet singing nightingale bird. The melodious note of a nightingale sounds sweet and welcoming to a tired group of travelers in some shady shelter in the middle of the Arabian desert. But the song of the Highland girl is sweeter than that of the nightingale. Alliteration: no nightingale, some shady, among Arabian. Metaphor: the solitary reaper's song has been compared with the song of nightingale. A voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime to the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Now the comparison shifts to the cuckoo, another well-known songbird. The cuckoo bird in the springtime breaks the silence of the seas in the far off of Hebrides Islands. But according to the poet, the song of the solitary reaper is more thrilling than that of the cuckoo. It means, after comparing the song of the solitary reaper with the nightingale, Wordsworth goes on describing and comparing with cuckoo, another acclaimed sweet singing bird. Metaphor here is, here the song of the nightingale is compared to that of cuckoo. Hyperbole, breaking the silence of the seas. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far-off things and battles long ago. The poet doesn't comprehend the meaning of the song or its subject matter, as the girl probably singing in her native language. So he asks the other travelers there if anyone can throw some light on what she sings. From its tone, he guesses it to be a mournful song about some old and happy things and past battles. Or is it some more humble lay, familiar matter of today? Some natural sorrow, loss, or pain that has been and may be again. Wordsworth again guesses that the song might be about some more usual happenings like some natural sorrow, loss, or pain, a death or a domestic day to day incident which has occurred or may happen again. Whatever the theme, the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. In this stanza, Wordsworth talks about the impact the reaper's song left on his mind. No matter what the theme was, the maiden girl was singing like there's no stopping. Poet saw her singing and working. The flow of her music was so impressive that it seemed to be never ending. I listened motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore, long after it was heard no more. The poet listened to the girl's song, stopped on his way, and stood still, very much charmed by the girl's beautiful song. When the poet was climbing up the hill, the song could no longer be heard from there, but he bore the music, the melody of the solitary reaper's song in his heart. Such was the impression of the song upon his mind.